Hello and welcome to Nweh, 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 preserving the gateway to our minds.
Today we are going to treat you to Nweh, that is the Nweh alphabet. As you can see on your screens, there are 34 letters of the alphabet. These 34 letters of the alphabet are divided into 9 vowels and 25 consonants. Now, but also in addition to the vowels and the consonants, Nweh language, like many African languages, depends heavily on the use of tones. So we shall also be taking tones into consideration. Now, I will not take you so much into what tones are, because that's a whole lesson of its own. But what we have to understand is that tones are the changes you make in your voice when you speak. And the changes you make in your voice when you speak can affect the meaning of a word, as well as it can affect the meaning of a sentence or the tense of that sentence. There are 5 tones: high tone, the mid tone, the low tone, the rising tone, and the falling tone. Now, what are they? The high tone, when you raise the pitch of your voice, ah, as in ka, 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 or the mid tone, when the pitch of your voice remains flat, as in India, ah. Then the low tone, when your voice drops in what the French call accent grave, where your voice drops. So you have like agep, ah. So ah. Ka ndia agep. Ka ndia agep. Now, the rising tone is sa, ah. The falling tone, as in ndi, ondi. So you see, it rises and falls. So that's why they call it the falling tone. But the rising tone, falls and rises. Esa. Now, I will stop marking the high tone, because we don't mark the high tone when we write. We mark only the mid, low, rising, and falling tones. So, when you see a word without a tone marking, know that you are supposed to read it naturally as high tone. So, once more, ka, ndia, agep, esa, mbamda. The Nweh alphabet is part of the general alphabet of Cameroon languages, which was developed in the 1970s and placed at the disposal of different language groups. Each language community can select the relevant consonants and vowels that they need for their own language. So for Nweh language, 34 consonants and vowels have been chosen, as I said before, with 9 vowels and 25 consonants. So now we're going to give you a rundown of the alphabet.
A, B, Ch, D, E, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, Ng, O, A, P, F, R, S, T, U, U, V, W, Y, Z.
Okay, now some people have been asking the question, why must we have an alphabet in Nweh? Why don't we just use the English alphabet? Well, that would be the easy path to take, but it would not be adequate. The English alphabet cannot effectively express the full range of the Nweh language. In other words, there are some features in Nweh language that are not easy to write just with the English alphabet. Nweh alphabet is derived from the general alphabet of Cameroon languages, which itself is derived from the International Phonetic Alphabet. These alphabets, as well as the English alphabet, are based on the Latin script, which was used by the ancient Romans. Nweh alphabet has been carefully chosen to represent the complexity and dynamic ranges of the language. This involves including letters and features that are missing in the English writing system. I will be brief here with the hope that the wisdom behind the Nweh alphabet will become clear as we dig deeper into the language. We have seen how tones can affect the meaning, tense, and mood of a word or sentence. Now let's look at one letter of the Nweh alphabet that helps us to fully express the nuances of spoken language in writing. Here we have the sound ng, ng, ng. It is normally written when we use the English alphabet as ng. This is easy when it comes at the end or sometimes at the middle of a word, or when it begins a word when it comes at the beginning of the word followed by a consonant. For example, nchang, nchang. Ng comes at the end. You see that we write ng. Ngang, ngang, that's person. Ng again comes at the end, so it's written okay. But also ng comes at the beginning, but because it is followed by g, you put n there, so it doesn't make a lot of difference. Now, when it comes at initial positions or at the beginning of the word and is not followed by a consonant, it becomes problematic. Secondly, ng and g sometimes sound similar, but they are not interchangeable in spelling. Otherwise, they would create confusion. Take a look at these two photos. One shows bells and the other shows roots. How would you translate them in Nweh? Of course, a bell is ngang and roots. A root is ngang, 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 ngang. How do you spell them? I have seen people spell them as B-E-G-A-N-G for bengang, that is bells, and B-E-N-G-A-N-G for bengang, roots. However, only the person who wrote it can remember to pronounce it as bengang later on. Someone else would be tempted to pronounce it as begang, which means persons. So you see that the original meaning is already lost. But with Nweh alphabet, that mistake cannot be made. Now, bell is ngang, ngang, so we write it with ng, a, ng, ngang, ng, a, ng, ngang. Then sit down as well. Ngangase, ngangase, ngangase. Root. Ngang, ngang, ng, g, a, ng, ngang, 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 ngang. To tie something strongly with a cord. Ngang, ngang, ngang.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe, follow, like, and share, and come back for more.